it say that? It say we live? Okay, let's just do it like this here. Get them to. Okay, so starting soon. I'm gonna go out and get a coat and then get a little cognac or something going on here. sure that we on. You got your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Let's even make sure that we even online. Oh hell, this don't work. I don't know if I can see myself if I log in. What does that say over there?
What?
Right there on the screen. Right there by them hearts. See when it said talking about does it say we streaming? Right there in the corner. At the bottom, Anthony. Right there. What does that say?
Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines.
Okay, so we on. Ready? You can take that with you.
No, I don't want to be drinking on camera.
It's a red cup. They don't know what it is, huh? It could be a cold drink. Okay, now I gotta put myself back in the picture. Say something.
Something.
Bring the mic up to you. I'm loosening it on the end over there. Okay, get it where it's comfortable. Okay, that's good. Now, turn it towards you. I mean, to your face. Put it to your mic. to the mics and talk to us, son. Go ahead.
Hello?
I don't hear you.
Hello?
Say it again.
Hello?
Or do it again.
Hello?
It's coming out. Can you hear your mic?
No, I can hear myself.
No.
Go ahead.
I hear you.
Okay.
Hello? I hear you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Now say something.
Something.
You say something.
Something.
Okay, I don't know why it's not on pad 2 either. Okay, go.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Maybe it's just on one channel. Check one. Okay, I need to turn that off. Hello. Yeah. Okay. You hear me clearly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You ready to start?
Sure.
Oh, did it freeze? Okay. I gotta straighten my camera up. So while I straighten it up, you online. Say something.
Hello?
Tell me who you are, son.
I'm Anthony.
Are you shy?
Yeah.
Not the kid I knew. Kid I knew wasn't never shy. You scared?
Mm-hmm.
Of what? Life?
I guess.
You know, I think it's very rare, YouTube people, that you have a father and son that's online talking about things that are important to us or important to black people. So the name of this podcast is The Power of the Pen, which I've taught him that it's the most powerful weapon in the world. And it's powerful because you're able to go out here and to write policy, write laws, or write into history, anything that you want to be preserved from time. So the thing is that when it comes to Black America, living in America, we have always adhered to other people's policies and plans and not our own. And when you do that, then that kind of makes you seem like that you are less of a human than they are. When in reality, we are the children of the sun. And children of the sun, that means that we were God's first creation. And so, throughout history, when you talk about how slavery existed, it was a business. And so, if the countries of Africa had known that Europe even put their own people into slavery, they even sold their own folks. So if they're able to sell their own people, then you know for sure that we were a commodity that created money. And what they used to say, there was gold and there's black gold. And the black gold were the people. So anyway, here we are in America now. And what happens is that you have people that have talent, and you have white people who use these same people who have talent to be the gatekeepers. So they don't mind paying one or two of us, but they don't want to pay all of us. So they put the people in place to control who gets paid and who don't get paid. And then if you're getting paid and they like you, then that's where all that weird stuff come in. So, how do we do better in America? What do we do? What do you think, Anthony?
Own your own stuff.
And how do you do that?
Build your own stuff.
Tell me more. Tell me how you build your own stuff. What do you do?
Well, you figure out what you want to do. You learn about it, then create it, then sell it.
So you think that for us to get rich in America, we have to sell stuff?
It's either services or commodities.
Okay, so who's going to buy the stuff we sell?
Good point.
Yeah, I mean that's the, you talk about people coming to America through immigrations. These folks that speak Spanish only, but they only buying Spanish only too. They're spending their money with other Spanish people, and because that has occurred, the wealth of Spanish America has quadrupled. Because what they do is, what happened to America, black Americans in the early 50s and 60s, well, they had what is it called, segregation. So black people couldn't spend with white people couldn't spend with black people. Even though we didn't make as much money as they made, we had more wealth within our own community because we were capable of spending money with each other. And so once they realized that was a mistake that they made, oh shoot, what they did was they said, hey, look, we got to figure out a way to get that revenue back into our pockets. So what they did was they put interstates throughout black communities in terms of destroying the cohesiveness of those communities. And the folks, that were in business, well, the black people were like, oh shoot, I'm able to go down here to the store that's owned by the white person or the Asian or the Korean. Let me go down there and spend money with him because his food is better, or he gives more of it, or they have more selection, and we'll start shopping with him, and then they cut out the black person. But we have this love-hate relationship within black America. And what do you think, Anthony, in terms of how that was created?
Conditioning.
Conditioning? What do you mean?
Like, I feel like our reality is basically a experiment.
Okay, elaborate.
And you have principal investigators, you have the subjects, and you have the mechanics of the experiment, and then you have the psychology of the experiment. So the thing is, if you can, our reality is binary. It's just ones and zeros.
Okay, make that plain so people can understand what you're talking about, man.
If you study how the brain works, it's similar to a computer. That's really where they got the concepts to make computers. It's a very simple concept that explains how we interpret reality, or how we interpret consciousness. So I feel like, people who understood that, hundreds of years ago, knew that if you um, made an example out of a certain population or demographic.
Are you talking about like Willie Lynch?
Sure. That's just conditioning. It's putting something in front of somebody and telling them this is their truth, or this is their reality, or this is a cause and effect of what their actions, produce. And it's still very prevalent in our culture and society. It's moved from physical experiments to digital experiments, and the digital experiments are social media platforms and cell phones, and controlling how people view their world and how they interact with their world. That is where the conditioning has migrated to.
Well, you do know that there's a lawsuit out against Facebook and Instagram that's saying that they are creating a platform where people spend too much time on the certain platforms, and what it does is it creates mental health issues for the people that are listening or looking or viewing the different platforms. But when explaining all of this, how this, I believe that the only way that you can really understand how things function, you have to go back to the beginning. So a lot of us are caught in the maze of religion, and I know religion is like a touchy subject. People don't really want to talk about it because they've been conditioned from history to believe X, Y, and Z without actually going in and doing the research to figure out if that's true or not. Well, we do know that it started 2,000 years ago, and we do know that that the Greeks conquered the Egyptians, and that there was a ruler that was a friend of Alexander by the name of Ptolemy. So Alexander was so revered in Egypt that they made him a pharaoh. So once he was poisoned by one of his generals and he died, this guy Ptolemy took over. And just like Alexander, he wanted to be worshipped too. So they made him into a god, and they called him Serapis. And so then you have to look at how long the dynasties of Ptolemy existed in Egypt. It was almost for like 100 years that the Greek were in control of Egypt. And so then you brought the Romans into the picture, and Rome is in Europe, and the Egyptians are children of the sun. The Romans are children of the ice, which means that crops and good weather and all that kind of stuff is not as plentiful as it was in Egypt. So the Romans needed to come to Africa, which was a part of Egypt, to steal the wealth to take back to Rome. And so when they got to Egypt, Cleopatra did everything in her power to stop the Romans from destroying the relationship that they had with Egypt, and not to just come in and just to colonize the place. But what happened in the end, Rome came in and they destroyed the Greek, and they colonized Egypt. And so when you look at the distance between Egypt and Rome, Rome is like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away from Egypt. But you got the Greek and you got the Egyptians that are living in this one place. So how do you come in as a colonizer and as a person who has won the war and coexist with these people without fighting them every day? How do you do that? So, I'm just a person that uses common sense. So, if I'm coming to your home, or if I'm coming to your town, then I'm trying to find something that you have used in the past that you're comfortable with, and I'm going to adopt that too, so that nobody wants to fight with me. So Serapis' name was they called him Serapis Soter, and Soter means savior. So he was Serapis Soter to the Greek and to the Egyptians. Now, one thing that I have to say about the Greek, they allowed the Egyptians to worship what they've been worshiping, and then the Greek worshiped Serapis, or the Apollo, or whoever, whatever deity that they wanted to worship. It wasn't as controlling as it was when Rome came in. So when Rome came in, Rome saw that they had Serapis, and that the people were cool with it. So they adopted Christ as being the Savior, or they went into what's called Christianity. And with that, they created popes and all that, and then the popes started to, they brought in Michelangelo, who drew a picture of what Christ was supposed to look like. And obviously, when you have a group of people that have conquered you, their image of their deity is going to look like them. It's not going to look like the person that it was fashioned after. It's going to look like the conqueror. And so this sort of thing went on for years. And then there was a black guy by the name of Arius from Libya who said that he knew about the father, but he wasn't too sure about the son. He said the son was Serapis, and he was man. He wasn't God at all. So what they did was they created a council of Nicaea, 32 AD. And within this council, they got all the popes together that basically wrote the New Testament. Now, people say, well, it was inspired. Okay, so some things that they wrote about were good things. Not everything was negative, but I'm saying that it was written by people who were conquerors. And so the goal of the religion wasn't to make things equal. The goal of the religion was to ensure that the conquerors, the people in charge, and the folks that were beaten, to be in a subservient role. So you move that all the way forward to today. First when we went in slavery, they wouldn't allow slaves to worship. And then they realized that, hey, look, if we create a slave that was religious, he's more docile. He's going to accept the fact that I wrote into the Bible that a slave should obey his master. He's going to accept the fact that Ham was cursed by his father because he looked on his father's nakedness because his father was drunk. and he was cursed. Well, where I believe is, I believe that God is a God of second chances. He's not gonna punish my son for something that I did. My son has the opportunity to have grace and have mercy. So why should the sin that I created fall on him? Now with man, obviously man will say, hey look, this debt right here that you incurred, your whole family got to incur that debt. But that's man. That's not God. God wouldn't do that. Now at least that's my thoughts. So what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I know I said a lot, but I'm gonna give you the floor. Because I know that you read and meditate every day. Go ahead. Tell them what you think. Is it frozen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Okay. Well, y'all, we got to be right back. We got to fix something for the cause.